let's start with the actually, because I don't want to stop watching videos I currently am watching. How good graphics killed video games, but Circle Tunes HD.
Companies to pre-plan budgets are getting more popular, and microtransactions and bleed pricing is getting more commonplace. And if we want all of these things to stop, I'm not kidding when I say games need to be smaller, look less good, and developers need to be paid more. Blockbuster franchises used to take a few years to make, if that. Now it takes a damn decade to make a single game because the expectations are so ludicrously high. That's why indie titles, stylized titles, innovative, weird titles are becoming so popular as of late. And yes, R&D is worth something. Yes, it's in our best interest to strive for better. And yes, we should always be trying to evolve our art. But can we wait until it's more fucking affordable? Nintendo, I feel, is a perfect example that encompasses all the good and bad here. Check this out. Nintendo launches an extremely affordable console that breaks nearly every record ever, but it runs on leapfrog hardware and a dream. Most of their games look extremely good, even on the weaker hardware, because again, a concrete style is worth far more than high-fidelity realism and graphics. But because of that same lacking hardware, some games run poorly or are forced to make optimization cuts, either in graphics or frame rate. So what does Nintendo do? They work on a second console, this time far more powerful than the last, one that can run modern-looking games but maintains the hybrid gimmick. This causes the price to jump up, and even though it's still on the mid-end of modern consoles, it's seen as greedy, despite gamers begging for this exact upgrade.
But I don't like the Pro!
Why do old Pokemon sprites still ooze charm, but every 3D Pokemon game somehow looks worse than the last? Why are indie games coming out faster than ever, toppling AAA studios and claiming so many awards? How do these smaller gaming experiences, sometimes made by a single individual, garner such massive loving fan bases? Balatro, Vampire Survivors, Slay the Princess, Inscription, Animal Well, Pizza Tower, Blueprints. Because a refined art style will always age better than the skin pores of the month. Because you can tell an emotional story no matter your poly count, and because bold and defined visuals let your game stand apart and speak for themselves no matter the budget. Just take a look at Expedition 33, a small team's first project, an outstandingly beautiful title that blends the two design philosophies together, sacrificing neither while making a visually distinct and affordable game. By the way, this is like one of the best games I've played in the recent decade. If it doesn't win Game of the Year, I might actually like lose my mind. And this isn't like nostalgia glaze either. This effect happens time and time again, and not just with modern indie games, the gaming industry as a whole. Look, Last of Us is an incredible game, no argument there. One of my favorites, and obviously a very high fidelity and pretty game, especially for 2013. And by the way, do you want your brain to like fucking melt? Last of Us released a year before Dark Souls 2. Yeah, what? But do we really need to remaster The Last of Us so many times to the point where you can't tell the fucking difference?
Fuck's the point of this? What the hell does this mean? You all are spending millions on something I can't fucking say.
Now, none of these arguments mean bunk shit if I can't point you towards a modern game that encompasses all of the attributes I'm seeking in a title. Affordable for the consumer, low development costs, balanced and sustainable work environment, gameplay first framework, kinda indie but kinda not indie, no long bloated playtime, stylized graphics that will age beautifully, heart, soul, and dare I say it, fun? What the hell? A game's priority being fun? I give you one of the most with a bombardment of creative ideas, only to throw them away 5 minutes later so they can fit in another dozen crazy mechanics into the same section of the same level. It's downright baffling how many fun and interesting gameplay ideas are packed into this 12-hour game and how often they build off of them multiple times. Not only is Split Fiction insanely fun, but it's optimized beautifully, runs like butter, and looks so damn good. I've never seen a studio flex how comfortable and confident they are like this. It seems like every art asset, set piece, landscape, color, style, and effect was lovingly crafted with zero internal friction. Everything is on full display here with unabashed passion and heart. This game is a 10, but it's not just a 10. It's a 10 that also has a buddy pass, so your co-op partner doesn't even need to pick the already affordable game up to play the entire experience. It's a 10 that pursued a timeless, cost-effective, beautiful art style. It's a 10 that prioritized the player over the profits. It's a 10 that proved you can still develop a Game of the Year contender without spending hundreds of millions of dollars. But maybe most importantly, it's a 10 that I know I can replay in 20 years and it will still be as good as I remember it.
Okay. Noted. Maybe I get this game. Recently, Master has been able to do one more. Yeah, Fairy deserves better. Fairy is the absolute best. Guys. Oh. Just seen. Go. Let's go.
Remember the soft touch of sand when they touch the score. Here it is. Slow with the blade. Huh? Your weakness has been exposed. You can't run.
Okay. That's a swimsuit.
Adjust your breathing. Splinter strikes to score. You can't run. Yeah, wait. Not going to deal with you individually. Apologies. A flurry of thrusts. Be careful. Don't fight head on. Keep it up. Clear your mind. Solid hit. Score.
And the fucking everyone out. Would it be? This is what I call true dedication to the craft. I'm so sorry. Razor paid after this. Here's all the cash I have on me. Consider it token of my apology. No matter the field, people who put their heart into their work deserve respect. Compared to them, probably haven't been working hard enough. I should learn from these dedicated actors. Already doing great. But now you still have a long way to go. Anyway, let's get out there. It's not too dangerous. Here are the ones I knocked out should be fed. They can just leave on their own once they wake up. Schedule has been Hmm.
Out of my way! I'll take you.
Okay, so looking at how she fights.
Out of my way!
This is so fucking stupid.
Move it!
Oh, I forgot I could use.
Got a summer surprise! Here to sign for it?
Animations are so stupid. Okay, flossing about Soldier Zero Ambient.
What's up, guys? It's Flossin. And well, it seems like my superpower strikes again. Anytime I decide to Doom post, the devs think it's the perfect time to buff that character. Too bad I'm at war with the Sambi mains, so I can't be excited. Anyway, 2.2 livestream happened the other day, and oh boy, we saw some things. New teammates for Sam.
Just like the Poseidon, a bunch of folks trying to stop us from finding a treasure. Everything's going according to Keikaku.
Can be a potential buff, and the biggest question of all, Does Flossin really hate Soldier Zero Ambi? Because I know Ambi Nation and all the Sambi mains really want to know. A lot of people have been asking me left and right about tons and tons of different questions. So today, we're revisiting Ambi for the second time. And hopefully, this is the last time I have to talk about her, so we can finally close the book on this trilogy that I've made. If you guys enjoy videos like these and you want to see more, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It's completely free and lets me know that you enjoy this type of content. Now, with formalities out of the way, let's talk games. Alright, Ambi Doom Posting Part 3. Well, not really doom posting, but here we are again. I didn't really want to make this, but the devs just had to buff Ambi out the wazoo with the new 2.2 livestream. Anyway, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's actually talk about the indirect buffs that Sambi is getting. And that's from Seed and Orpheus. So, both Seed and Orpheus are arriving next patch, and honestly, they're going to be spectacular teammates for Sambi. Way better than I first expected. People told me Seed would be cracked with Sambi, but I wasn't convinced. That is, until I saw her kit. Seed is looking like a quick swap DPS, rather than a greedy main DPS. Her kit revolves around her Vanguard mechanic. At the start of battle, Seed chooses a Vanguard, whichever agent has the highest attack on your team, and when that Vanguard uses an EX special, Seed gains an attack and crit damage buff based on their stats. Now, why is this important for Sambi? It's important because Ambi lives and dies by crit damage stacking. This creates a back and forth buff loop between Seed and Ambi. Seed gives Ambi the juice, then Ambi uses it to pump out damage, then back to Seed. Seed even increases her Vanguard's energy regen while off field, which is pretty amazing for Ambi because, let's be real, her downtime between her EX special
Ship Adventures.
has always felt painfully underwhelming. So yeah, Seed looks very, very good for Sambi next patch. But even if you're not pulling Seed, there's still Orpheus. She's not a main DPS like her attack class might suggest. She's more of a supportive DPS with her bottled heat mechanic. She deals aftershock attacks when other teammates attack, then uses her laser to consume bottled heat for huge fire damage and a team-wide attack buff. It's also important to note that her attack buff scales off of energy regen. So yeah, better start farming those discs, boys. On top of that, her regen. So yeah, Better start farming those discs, boys. On top of that, her laser also triggers a quick assist, so team placement will actually matter when you're building rotations. Anyway, the takeaway is pretty simple here. Ambi finally has new teammates, and not just generic support teammates that carry her throughout the fight. These are characters that are actually built to elevate her, and that alone is a huge deal for people who like Sambi next patch. Now, onto the elephant in the room, direct buffs. During the live stream, it was said that Ambi is undergoing intense confidential training and will soon activate her inner potential. TLDR, that kinda sounds like a buff, okay? I don't want to overhype it because we don't know the details, but if they don't deliver here, they might be cooked. Ambi has needed adjustments since release, and if this ends up being the real deal, then that's massive. I just hope it's not some vague lore nod that goes nowhere. Still, if she really is getting a buff, I want to see the devs address the core problems. The inconsistencies in her kit, the way her mechanics punish you more than they reward you, and the clunkiness of her rotations. If those are addressed and fixed, Ambi is probably gonna start shining a lot more than we expect. Now, I know that this video might surprise a lot of Sambi mains because I'm actually not hating on Sambi. I actually haven't hated on her once in this video. And because truth be told, I actually don't hate Sambi. Guys, when I first started Zenless, curiosity killed the cat. I booted up my first mission, and when I walked in with A rank Ambi and played around with her kit, I immediately fell in love with her gameplay. The timing of her basic attack strings, weaving in EX specials between attack strings, and being rewarded for clean dodge counters. It was smooth, it was satisfying, and it was fun. Not to mention her character design, absolute fire. She's laid back, super chill, funny when she can be, but when it's time to protect the people Ambi cares about, she never hesitates. She reminded me of Soldier 11 when I finally got her, and for good reason, now that we know why. But both of them reward a timing mechanic in their gameplay, show off unique ways of skill expression, and reward you for dodge counters. Not to mention, they shine the brightest when their backs are against the wall. So when Soldier Zero Ambi was announced, I was ecstatic. The poster child of Zenless, now with an S-rank version, this was supposed to be the moment. I thought she'd stand shoulder to shoulder with the likes of Miyabi, Yanagi, Evelyn, even Astra Yao. I know she's not a DPS, but still a top tier character. That's what I expected out of Soldier Zero Ambi, and I was ready to pull this character day one, no hesitation. But when she launched and I got my hands on her, I just felt disappointed. Soldier Zero Ambi felt rushed, as if the devs said, people will buy her anyway. And yeah, they were right, because I did. I bought Soldier Zero Ambi. I bought her engine, I bought her best teammate, I bought her best teammate's engine in hopes that it would fix her issues. But it didn't. No matter what I
Is Caesar King. Careers are dropping? Why can't I see that though?
Threw at her, Astrial, Nicole, Trigger, good W engines, good disk drives. Her kit constantly punished me for playing her. Meanwhile, every other new character was polished, powerful, and borderline just flawless, all releasing back to back with insane kits. And Sambi, it's almost as if she was left behind like a neglected child. And seeing all of that constantly happen just made me reach my breaking point, which is why I made this video. Now, we've already discussed it. The first video wasn't the greatest, and I let my frustrations out about Ambi on that video. Of course, I made a follow-up video for clarification because I had to, but I never wanted to make the original video in the first place. I just wanted the agent I invested so much into to shine like the other ones that came out around her. And instead, I got disappointment, I got inconsistency, and I got punished for believing in her. So if anybody expected me to hate on Sambi in this video, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I don't hate Sambi. I actually hate what the developers did to her. Now, like I said before, I am happy about the changes that she could possibly get and the teammates that they're adding next patch. I hope it turns out the best for Sambi, and I'm really excited on what they're going to do in the future with her. But yeah, I think that this is the end of the Sambi trilogy, and I know the only way to move on is to apologize to all of the Sambi mains and Ambi Nation. So, Sambi mains and Ambi Nation, from the deepest part of my heart, I, Flossin on you, am so very so. Wait, what is that? No, this can't be right. Is that Dingle Bob? Dingle Bob's using my profile picture to cancel me? No, surely this isn't right. I need to check his channel really quick. No. What is this?
Is this your king smoking in 4K outside his own house? Are you telling me you like Hu Tao more than Soldier 11? What if I told you I caught him sending feet pics of Seed the other day? Yes, that's right. Your king, Floss Nanu, who was married to Soldier 11, was caught with feet pics of Seed on his hard drive. It's because he likes feet, and I now have evidence to prove so.
So Dingle Bob, you made a whole video on me? You called me a cheater? You said I like feet and brought a good woman like Seed into the crossfire. Okay, you know what? Forget the apology. I'm never apologizing. In fact, I meant every word I ever said about Soldier Zero Ambi. She is terrible. She is horrendous. And I hope whatever little buff that you're expecting for her is 30 times worse than Ellen Jones rework. From this day on, I will be pushing the Seed agenda. No more Sambi.
Oh well. Poor Flossin. Wait, how are the even communicators that work here? That face. Come again? I didn't hear you.
I gotcha.
Oxybu did this gacha games respecting time.
Forest, and I have been trying a bunch of gacha games to see which one I would like the most without spending a single money on them. These games always made me very curious due to their art style and the fact that they are free to play. The thing is, when someone tells me the word gacha, I know you're trying to tell me what type of game is. But what I hear instead is the business model the game has. I know saying this will make you want to correct me, because there is more to it than that, but I'm just telling you my initial reaction before I gave any of these games a real time. So before I start telling you the experience I had with these games, hola, Amox, and welcome back. Usually I don't really mention this, but considering there are a lot of people that don't know me, I think it's fair to point out that everything I say in my videos is just my opinion and my perspective. So unless I say it's a fact or something related, take it as just what one guy says. Now that is out of the way, let's start ranting. Nah, don't worry. I'm not gonna hate on your favorite games. In fact, this video was gonna be quite different and longer, but after giving it a second thought, I scrapped some of the parts away because I feel like with some games I need more playtime to form an opinion, and with other games they didn't really left me a lasting impression, neither positive nor negative, to consider them worth to talk about for me now. However, I won't feel that I'm being honest if I completely ignore Genshin Impact, which is a game that I played in the past, still reaching Inazuma, and if you enjoy the story of this game, don't worry, cause I'll give it a check on YouTube another time to understand the appeal of that, but I'm not gonna play it again, cause my opinion about the game is 50% tainted with the content that I saw,
I feel disgusting. That's what Genshin Impact is to me.
and another 50% of just pure game design analysis, and I understand that if you stop playing Genshin Impact, you really wanna hear me talking about all that, but I wanna wake up with my kidney tomorrow, so let's just start with the video for once. If you ask me about CCC back when I played it, when it was released, I would have told you that this is the best gacha game I had played by far. It has a nice vibe, incredible character design, amazing combat, and it doesn't consume as much time as any of the other open world gacha games. And the story is kinda whatever, but at least you have a skip button. Okay, how much my opinion changed now that I played it again pretty much for this video? Well, first of all, the reason I drop it on release, it's very silly, but probably some of you can relate. I lost the 50-50 on a character that I wanted. I don't remember who it was, but after grinding for it and not getting it, I just gave up and played something else instead. And now, am I gonna keep playing after this video is done? Very unlikely, I would say. Maybe it's a skill issue, but I didn't finish the story and I already find it very repetitive. In theory, I have amazing characters from what I have read in that build's website that pops in the first of all these games. But I wasn't even trying to play the meta to begin with. I just liked the two characters that were on the banners the time I played it. And I was lucky enough to get both, with all the combat rewards and whatnot. The thing is, I enjoy hack and slash games a lot, but my fingers hurt less when I play a song on Guitar Hero in expert than playing this game. I'm not sure how bad this is a problem in the endgame, but I just feel The bosses have a lot of health. I know it sounds like something very specific that shouldn't be a big issue, but hear me out. When I play a trial character in a story, I expect to melt those bosses, considering you are giving me to try characters in order to pull for them later on and potentially invest money on it. And with this game, it doesn't matter if I'm playing my characters with the trial ones, if I'm doing the story, if I'm farming for gear, leveling up, or doing side content. I just feel like every time I play, if the mission doesn't have a boss fight, I can keep playing. But if it has a boss fight, I'm completely burned out from the game for a few days. Something that it kinda makes no sense to me, cause I feel like this game is designed to be mostly played on phone rather than PC or consoles. At least that's the impression I got on how a lot of the system works and is structured. So making the boss fights that long goes against that, I feel. And despite talking a lot about the bosses, I just remember really how hard they were for me, but I cannot name you or tell you which is which, cause I find them very forgettable as well, funny enough. So yeah, it left me with the impression that that's just how the game is now, and unless I play it very casually, I won't really touch it again. It was very tiring. I was just gonna leave it like that, but I don't think it would be fair. The reason why I don't talk about the good sides much is because you can see them in the footage. I just feel like it's not a game that I enjoy in the long term simply because the difficulty is very inconsistent, or I don't know how to build my characters well despite the huge amount of cutscenes they spent for explaining me how to play the game. So my point still stands, but since I didn't reach it till the end, I can't figure it out entirely if it's a flaw in design, what I dislike about this game, or just my fault. The game that I actually played from start to being caught up with the story, at least from the time I'm doing this video. If you reach this part in the video, apart from asking you to leave
unfortunate. So excited. I got a feeling something unexpected might happen. Alright, let's spend coin. Can't wait. Wasn't me. Didn't read all the lines. And once again, first skipped way too far ahead.
There are thousands of indie games that release every single year. The competition in the indie space is growing and strategies are constantly evolving. Yet despite this, Landfall Games has continued to dominate the indie scene of games and has proved themselves as one of the most successful indie studios ever. And the reasoning behind their crazy track record is not luck at all. And it's not even necessarily that their games are always the best. The fact is, there's plenty of good games that are getting released that don't get near the same level of success that Landfall Games do. Yes, Landfall's games are amazing, but they also have a ton of other strategies that they use in order to make sure that every single game gets the recognition it deserves. Let's break it down. Once a studio releases their first big successful game, it's very easy to want to chase something way bigger for the next project. I mean, in practice, it makes sense. You have the budget and resources now. Look at games like Hollow Knight, for example. That was Team Cherry's first major hit. Even though Hollow Knight was made in around 4 years on a limited budget, its sequel, Silksong, still hasn't come out yet because they're trying to do something far more ambitious. They have more resources and expectations, but also a player base that's expecting something so much more impressive as well. That kind of pressure naturally leads developers to larger ideas and a much larger scoped game. I mean, we have seen this kind of pressure literally make game developers have to take a break or stop game development altogether because the longer they spend in development, the higher the expectations by their fans are.
It's at the point where I'm actually getting like death threats in my inbox because I'm not posting Carlson devlogs, and it's kind of weird. All that pressure is making it very hard to work on Carlson the way that I want to.
For a legendary IP like Hollow Knight, this isn't near as much of a problem, especially since they're making a sequel and not a whole new IP altogether. People will wait for years because they already love the game and the studio, and they trust the developers to put out something amazing. But what if you're trying to build something original and don't have a massive IP to back you up? This is the story for a lot of developers. Success can actually set you up for failure if you go too big too fast. When we look at Landfall, we see a much different approach. Every year since 2021, yes, that was almost 5 years ago, they've released at least one game, and sometimes more than that. Their projects have still gotten bigger and more ambitious, but this is mostly just because the team has grown a bit in size and they're way more experienced. This has allowed a much more natural growth in complexity without any crazy scope creep. What's really interesting is if we look even closer at their release dates, you will very quickly notice a pattern. We have Haste, released on April 1st, 2025. Content Warning was released in 2024 on April 1st. Nightfall was released in 2022 on April 1st, and Tabs and Rounds both officially launched on April 1st, 2021. Wait, what about 2023? All right, looks like we have Landfall Archives released on, what the? March 31st? Well, it looks like this video's ruined. Thanks.
The team building funds silly by only set aside for Spook Shack. I'm letting anyone else have them. Yeah, we have both now.
Landfall Archives and Rounds both officially launched on April 1st, 2021. Wait, what about 2023? All right, looks like we have Landfall Archives released on, what the? March 31st? Well, it looks like this video's ruined. Thanks, Landfall Archives. You couldn't have waited one day. Anywho, you get the point. Every year, they release a brand new game on April 1st, which they've effectively branded as Landfall Day. April 1st fits their wacky, sort of physics-based identity and gives them a non-negotiable release date. That gives them hard deadlines they have to build toward. If something won't be ready in time, it gets cut. It might get added later in an update, but shipping that one game every single year isn't just a promise to you guys as players, but also them as developers. And what makes this more interesting is this isn't just a good practice for them, this is actually a marketing strategy. Put yourself in the shoes of a YouTuber who likes to cover games as soon as they come out. Landfall has essentially told you that they are going to have a game on this day every single year for you to expect. This means that you can already have this date marked down in your calendar for your content plan. Same goes for any gaming news website. They know they're going to be expecting to write a Landfall article that day. This heavily boosts their day one sales due to how much extra exposure they're getting just by releasing on this day. It's going to be an amazing signal to Steam to push your game out as organically as possible, and when Steam decides to push your game out organically because it's making them a lot of money, you're about to make a lot of money. I mean, sales are going to be through the roof. Now, one big concern about releasing a game on April 1st is the amount of competition happening that day. It's kind of a tradition for a lot of games to add a bunch of like wacky features and things that are only going to be around on April 1st. That means there's a lot more competition for headlines. That's a big issue, right? Wrong. wrong. The increased amount of gaming news happening on April 1st is going to bring more people on YouTube, more people to gaming news sites, and what do you think is going to get the biggest spotlight? A gag update that doesn't add any real meaningful content to the game, or a whole freaking game by a reputable studio? This all leads to a perfect release date and marketing strategy for the studio without spending a single extra dollar. Marketing obviously gets a lot of eyes on your product, but when you're dealing with a lot of multiplayer first games that require you to have people to play with, how do you make sure that people can actually convince their friends to buy the game? That's where strategy number 2 comes in. They release their game for completely free or heavily discounted on day 1, and then set it back to normal price shortly after. Let's look at the launch pricing for a lot of Landfall's newest games. We have Peak launching at 38% off, being only $5 instead of $8. Content Warning was completely free if you bought it during the first 24 hours of the game's launch. Landfall Archives launched completely free and is still completely free to this day, and Nightfall released for free for the first 24 hours and then went to $6 after that. By establishing a large day 1 audience for all of their games, they make sure people will be playing and talking about their game as soon as it comes out. The bigger the launch crowd, the more noise the game's going to make online, and the more likely it's just going to continue to snowball and bring more people into the game community. Now, at first, this could be seen as a little dumb. When you're releasing one game on the same day every single year, and it's probably gonna be free, a ton of people, possibly even millions, are just going to claim the game in that first 24-hour window, and you're not going to make any money on any of those copies. But they aren't playing for a day 1 release. They're banking on your friend that doesn't know Landfall as much, missed the sale, or just forgot to claim it on Steam while it was still free. They want to reward their hardcore fans and sort of use them as free marketing for people that don't know their studio as well. Peer pressure wins again, am I right? No, I'm serious. When you and your friends are deciding what game to play, and you're the only one in your friend group that doesn't have this game, it kind of forces your hand. You either buy the game so you can play with your friends, or you sit out while everyone else is having fun without you. And almost every single time, people would rather just buy the game, especially since Landfall prices their multiplayer games relatively cheap. Yes, they care about making a profit from these games, but they're playing a much more long-term strategy. Even if they didn't make quite as much as they could have from one of their cheaper games like Content Warning, since it came out for free and literally millions of people claimed it while it was still free, it got more people interested in Landfall as a whole. And that interest could have translated to sales on a lot of their existing games or future games that they're getting ready to release. Haste came out at $20, which is a pretty solid price tag, especially for Landfall, but because of the momentum they built up with free releases like Content Warning and Nightfall, a bunch of players were already a part of this Landfall ecosystem and were way more likely to buy it. That means any additional sales they generate from those free periods of their games turn into a much larger profit in the long run. Like, even if Content Warning only ended up translating to like 10,000 extra sales on Haste, for example, that is an extra $200,000 that Haste wouldn't have made. And that's not counting any of the extra word of mouth or hype that it brought the studio. Landfall understands that taking a loss in the short run can help to strengthen their community and keep these games alive. Speaking of keeping games alive, Landfall's also been known to make games free after they've been out for a while and their lobbies are kind of dying out. We've seen this with both Nightfall and Totally Accurate Battlegrounds. Once these games started to struggle to fill up servers, Landfall made the decision to make them free to play again in order to help these games alive for a little bit longer. They realized they weren't going to make much more from these games anyways, so why not try and do some community building with them? Plus, for people who already owned and enjoyed the game, it gave them a more enjoyable experience, since all of a sudden they had a bunch more people to play with. This isn't just a win for the players, but also Landfall, purely because once again, it brings more people, keeps more people inside of their community. That right there is a win for all parties involved. The last and debatably most important strategy that Landfall has is in choosing which specific games they're going to make. And I don't mean this in the way you might think. Landfall clearly does a lot of prototyping for each game to decide which one they plan to make next. I mean, they released Landfall Archives just to show off a bunch of things that they've done over time that they ended up stopping development on. That alone should tell you how many different ideas they're constantly experimenting with behind the scenes. But when deciding which games to actually pursue and take all the way to release, there's one thing that I think they specifically look for. How well can our players market this game for us? Traditional marketing is expensive and, to be honest, not very effective. Listen, I know every single one of you have subconsciously taught yourself how to hit that skip ad button as soon as the 5 seconds are done. So how do you make advertisements that are actually effective and connect with people? They have to be made by everyday people without the intention of them being an ad at all. Do you guys remember the whole Grimace Shake meme, Jake from State Farm, or Free Shavakadu? These were all completely random things that quickly turned into memes and gave the companies behind these a ridiculous amount of free promotion. Nobody was being paid to make these memes, really. I mean, there might have been a person or two. You know, Jake probably made some money, but actual people at home spread them because they thought they were funny, relatable, or just plain weird. I mean, there was sort of an unspoken competition with the Super Bowl to make the weirdest, craziest ads possible, because when people themselves start to promote a product, whether or not it's intentional, that product is going to blow up. That's why in recent years, I think we have seen so many companies trying to make these crazy, memeable products. It's because they know that spending millions of dollars on advertisements can really only take them so far. So what does this have to do with Landfall? Yes, they have an amazing marketing team and a huge presence on social media like TikTok, but where they excel in is creating experiences that basically market themselves. They have games like Tabs, which give YouTubers nearly unlimited content ideas. You can make hundreds of videos testing out different army setups and never run out of outcomes. They have games like Haste, which just looks so cool and fun at first glance that you immediately want to try the game out for yourself. I mean, that game is every single Sonic the Hedgehog fan's dream. And then they have proximity chat-based games like Peak and Content Warning that are entirely designed around creating absolutely insane scenarios which blow up on social media. I mean, Content Warning literally lets you take the videos that you record in-game and export them to your computer so that you can easily share them on social media. That is just advertising built into the game itself. And Peak is just full of unpredictable items and scenarios which create such funny and chaotic moments for you and your friends. One minute you're screaming, the next minute you're crying from laughter, and all of that gets flipped and put on social media. When people come across those videos where they genuinely see you having fun and having a good time, that connects with them so much more than any traditional commercial could. They're thinking to themselves, hey, that looks really fun. I want to play that with my friends. And that is is exactly the reaction that Landfall is chasing for every single title they put out. People are great at figuring out if something is meant to be an ad, but they're also really good at recognizing when people are having genuine fun and they don't want to be left out. In a GDC talk by Nick Popovich from Slime Rancher, he talks about how important it is for your entire game loop to be shown as a GIF.
GIFs are good. They communicate things very quickly, they're a form of artistic expression, and they're very mobile friendly and easily shareable, especially on Twitter. Can your game design fit inside a GIF? Can I get your game in a GIF? Can I see it and can I get it? I might have questions. Questions are fine. But does it answer something? Does it answer something material? That's what you want to be able to execute on in a GIF.
Everything we just talked about that Landfall does applies to this concept. Making your game easily shareable by the masses is so powerful and is a big reason why Landfall has seen such consistent success. And I'm sure that they have a ton of other cool strategies that they do for their games and to promote their games. But the point is, Landfall is an amazing studio that's completely reinventing how indie games are made. And I mean, with the success of Peak this year, we're really seeing this studio explode. Speaking of Peak, did you know that it actually started as a game jam? If you want to see a bunch more games that started off as game jams, you can click right here. Or if you want to take a nice trip down memory lane and see what happened to good old motion controls, you can click right here. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
On this very day, the 5th of April, 10 years ago, 20-year-old Matt decided to upload a silly video to the internet of me trying to complete the weekly Kerbal Space Program Reddit challenge, land a submarine on Eve, and launch a BrahMos missile from it. I did this purely because I couldn't be bothered to ensure I was taking the correct screenshots of the right parts of the mission to prove I'd done it, so I just filmed the entire thing, edited it to music, and then stuck it on the subreddit. I remember editing and uploading that video. I did it in an afternoon at my grandparents' house, and I wonder if Matt back then would realize the effect this video would have on my life, you know? I don't want to sound overly dramatic, but I had always wanted to be a YouTuber, and it was crazy to just accidentally fall down this path. And since that video went live, literally 10 years to the day today, it seemed only fitting that I should apply the mad skills I've honed over the decade and see if I can make a better job of the video, or at least make a worthy sequel. Now, I would have really liked to make a shot-for-shot remake of the OG video, but sadly that video used copyrighted music and therefore got blocked in a lot of places, so this time it's going to be in my normal commentary style. But if you head on over to the description, not forgetting to leave a like on the way of course, I'll link an alternate version of this video that is a shot-for-shot, music-for-music remake of the original, and if the link is broken for you, then you're in one of those places that got blocked. I'll also link the original Reddit posts of both the challenge and my submission to the subreddit. But yes, here we are in the space plane hangar constructing the vessel. Inside its forward payload bay is it's going to be a BrahMos missile. This was required to satisfy the Reddit challenge's hard mode criteria, as at the time, building BrahMos missiles in KSP was a bit of a trend on the subreddit. BrahMos missiles, and I don't believe this is unique to them, have this cool launch profile where they shoot up vertically before making a hard pivot 90 degrees. The reason they do this is so that they don't arc up too high and become detectable to enemy radar and, you know, become vulnerable to interception. But, as you may have seen, it also happens to look really, really cool. So I guess that's why everyone was building them at the time. Now, when it came to the design of the submarine, I had two choices. Either make a faithful recreation of the original, original, or just go all out and make an actual fully functional submarine that can actually submerge and, yeah, be a submarine. I wanted this to first and foremost look the same as the original though, so I went with the first option. So it can't submerge and it uses the cupola command pod, which is dumb because it means the pilot is
Oof. Minutes till midnight. I am so tired. Hmm.
facing the wrong way. That being said, it does sport a couple of upgrades.
Oh god.
All things come to an end, even time itself.
Sure would be nice if I could climb a few less stairs.
Wait, the person drinking tea over there. Isn't that Yelan? Oh, looks like she's having some kind of tea party with friends. We're just in time. Aren't we gonna go say hi?
Well, Officer Edler, after all that work, I think we've got them this time. Might take a few days to wrap up things in the field. In the meantime, I think you've earned yourself a break.
Much appreciated, Miss Yelan. This case really took it out of me. 13 strongholds. One thieving weasel after another. We rounded up so many people, you almost start to hope a few were innocent, just to balance it out. I'm just glad we finally took down these crooks. Anyway, I'm gonna drop in on that old classmate of mine in Chaoying Village and reminisce about old times.
Don't forget to take some tea and dim sum back to your friends at the Maison Gardiennage.
Oh, looks like Yelan's friend left. Paimon kinda wanted to meet her.
Ah, another pleasant surprise. Traveler, Paimon, take a seat. Excuse me, a pot of your finest Yunlai white tea, if you would. And 2 more place settings. Now, judging by that expression, I assume you came over to ask about the 2 spies that were just watching us.
Ah! Spies? What spies? There were spies around here just now?
Oh, more than that, I'm sure. I bet they already sent someone to tail Officer Edler. Anything to foil our operation.
Oh, so you're tracking down some criminals? They've got some nerve spying on you like that. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon.
Well, those tend to be the kinds of cases that cross my desk. If I could leave it to someone else, I would. I could have been on vacation right now. Mora laundering, to the tune of 10 figures and counting.
Laundry? What does that have to do with Mora? And who are these figures? There are 10 of them?
In layman's terms, a certain merchant in Fontaine possesses a large amount of Mora obtained through illicit means. But it's easy to get caught when you're moving that kind of cash. So you cover your tracks, create a front to avoid detection, and what do you know? Your illegal Mora now looks completely legit. And this merchant's front of choice? Fine art and antique auctioneering. He buys goods from all over Teyvat, brings them back to Fontaine, and rebrands them as pieces of fine art, driving up their price in the process. Then, when the items go to auction, he buys them up at their inflated price with his own illicit funds. And through this exchange, the proceeds he receives in return are clean. This process allows him to legitimize his illicit wealth. He even launders Mora for other criminals as well, a business which earned him the title the Dark Financier. That's to be expected, I suppose. In Chenyu Vale, you can get your hands on exquisite antiques without breaking the bank. Tea sets, porcelain, jade, statues, all easily marketed as pieces of fine art. Liyue goods being used in illicit underground schemes poses a real threat to our trade standing in the long run. So, instead of getting to enjoy my long-awaited vacation in Fontaine, it's back to work for me.
Okay, Paimon thinks she gets it now. It's like moving Mora from one hand to the other. In other words, just disguising where it originally came from. But if you know what this merchant is up to, shouldn't it be pretty easy to catch him? You go to the auction, wait for him to appear, then nab him right as he goes to purchase his expensive piece of Liyue art.
Not a bad plan, Paimon. But there are too many loose ends. If you were the mastermind behind this whole scheme, would you really expose yourself as the face of the operation?
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't want to be seen doing the dirty work. You'd send someone else instead. Like, if Paimon was the bad guy, she'd send the Traveler. No, wait! Even if Paimon turned bad, the Traveler would never... Paimon would need, like, a group of minions or something. Oh. Oh! Paimon gets it now. Even if you track down the goods, if this dark financier guy isn't the one doing the buying at the auction, you won't catch him.
It's not just a matter of who's at the auction. You also have to source the goods, transport them back to Fontaine, get them to the auction house, none of which are tasks he performs himself. He has a whole crew to hide behind. Tracking down the goods is already complicated enough. They change hands so many times, the trail is almost impossible to follow. So the most logical course of action is to play the long game. You start small. You find someone you can follow behind all the smoke screens, who'll lead you straight back to the dark financier himself.
Wait! So you were just pretending? And to think, Paimon thought all that stuff about wrapping up the case and taking a break was actually true!
Right you are, Traveler. Working with the Millilith and Officer Edler, we managed to launch attacks on all of the Dark Financier's strongholds, which allowed us to nab most of his crew. Those spies just now were his most important agents, the two people he trusts to have direct contact with him. The first is Corday, a senior member of the Fontaine Antique Association, in charge of auctioning off the goods. And the other is Dodamani, a ship owner from Sumeru and longtime cargo transporter. They're under pressure to salvage the situation, so we let them slip through the cracks on purpose. The goal is to make them think that, by some stroke of luck, they're in the clear and have room to act. They think keeping tabs on Officer Edler will allow them to operate under her radar and get whatever remains of their goods out of Liyue. But little do they know, while their attention's fixed on her, I'll be secretly gathering the intel that's gonna bring them crashing down. So, interested in coming along for the ride? I'm curious how you take to this line of work. Could be some potential there.
Yeah, we kind of stumbled into this whole thing, but now we're a part of it too. Let's do it! For Yelan, for the people of Chenyavale, and for, the Liyue business world!
I admire your selflessness, Traveler and Paimon. Let me be the one to look out for your self-interests then. Namely, your payment. How about we do this the Fontainian way? You'll get exactly what a top agent receives for a dangerous field mission. Getting started is always the hardest part, but luckily, I have a lead. The Dark Financier's crew is even more on guard than usual, so our best bet is to do some counter-surveillance to get on the right track. And I think I know just the place to start. Let's head northeast and see if I'm right.
Where do we come from? And where are we going?
All right, let's start our investigation here.
So, we can all agree this is just a normal stretch of wilderness, right? Paimon doesn't see any bad guys to nab around here.
Well, it didn't take long for you to understand our role here, Traveler. Thinking like a top agent already. Impressive. Like I said, we need to start small. If we want to track down the man himself, our best bet is to start with his goods. So right now, finding his stock is our #1 priority. And to do that, locating his hidden stronghold is imperative. Which brings us to why we're here. Pretty good vantage point from up here, don't you think?
Huh, guess so. Paimon can see the port of Elang Wharf, the boats in the distance, and some kind of tower. What's that for?
It's a lighthouse. The Millelith use it to monitor the situation at sea. In addition, the flashing of the light can also serve as a means of communication. Why not take a wild guess? See? Your intuition is spot on. The Millelith maintain an impeccable level of security in Shenyu Vale through consistent patrolling. This location offers a perfect vantage point to observe their lighthouse signals and deduce their patterns of behavior, which is a huge help if you need to move goods under the radar. So we should be able to find traces of the Dark Financier's scouts in this area.
Oh, okay. Paimon doesn't quite follow, but she'll take your word for it.
It's simple. Just take this forensic imaging device and investigate the surrounding area. As long as we're meticulous, I'm positive we'll find something.
Yoo-hoo! A dash of frosting! Extinguish! Ha! Yeah!
Once you equip the forensic imaging device, you can start looking. Well, all set? Remember, an eye for detail is key. Clues are often hidden in plain sight. Some good finds. Whatever door this key opens could be critical to the investigation. And this carrier pigeon tube contains several coded messages.
Huh. So there really is evidence around here. It's like these guys aren't even afraid of getting caught. What if the Millelith noticed them spying and decided to investigate?
These objects suggest the Dark Financier scouts were likely disguised as fishermen. People like that are trained not to crack under pressure. All they'd need to do is come up with a believable excuse, like needing a place to rest. The Millelith can't investigate or apprehend a civilian without probable cause.
Paimon can just see their smug faces getting away with something like that.
Not to mention, the traces on these objects are fresh, which means the scout here is still active and wasn't among those caught by Officer Edler. So we need to stay vigilant. We can't let them know we're still on their tail. I had a hunch this area was being used as a lookout, and I was right. But that still leaves the question of where the goods are hidden. Any ideas? Spot on again, Traveler. Looks like you don't need anyone to hold your hand when it comes to deductive reasoning. Given a carrier pigeon's speed, the two locations should be close enough to deliver messages quickly. That means the base we're looking for should be within a certain radius. Ruling out areas within line of sight of the lighthouse, as well as places with a lot of foot traffic.
That just leaves the shallows to the north of Mount Mingyuan?
That certainly sounds plausible. You have the cover of the mountains, and the advantage of hiding right under the authorities' noses. Well, our next destination is decided then. Let's go.
attempt. And nothing out of the ordinary here, either.
That's right. No detail is too small to investigate. I believe in you. The evidence could be even more well hidden this time. All set? All right. I know you have an eye for detail, so use it to your advantage. You've got this.
Where they stashed their goods! Definitely wasn't easy to find.
Well, well. Looks like you tracked it down in no time at all. I see your potential as a solo field agent, Traveler. Now, time to test out the key we found earlier. Let's see what surprises could be in store. This isn't their home turf, so I doubt they had time to set more traps. Should make our lives easier. I'll take it from here. The last thing we want is to leave traces behind in there. Caution is the name of the game. You two keep a lookout. Make sure no one barges in while I'm in there.
You got it! This is a first for us, but the Traveler can do anything. She's got your back! Good point. Yelan doesn't make mistakes like that.
All right, that's done. I've noted the features of all the porcelain items, vases, and teas stored here. We need to keep a lookout for these features at the auction and pinpoint the person attempting to purchase the corresponding goods. Then, we can let them lead us to our main target.
Wow, that was fast! You must do that all the time, huh?
Now, we wait. There are countless auctions in Fontaine. We can't possibly monitor them all. Besides, that would be a waste of personnel. I'll continue to conduct surveillance in the area, keep tabs on the situation, and attempt to decipher their coded messages. Once his 2 lackeys move the goods, we can shift our focus to the upcoming auction. And then, we'll have somewhere to start.
Got it! All we can do now is wait. Wait, and then follow them straight to the guy behind this whole thing so we can give him the old 1-2 punch!
This whole time, Officer Edler has been leading her 2 stalkers on a wild goose chase around Chaoying Village. Once they decide it was all a waste of time, it's her turn to tail them instead. Not to mention our operation has already put them under extreme pressure. We've forced their hand. I doubt they'll last more than 2 days before making a move. So let's meet back up at Yilong Wharf in 2 days. Find me near the harbor.
Well, it's been 2 days. Let's go meet up with Yelan. Ooh! Paimon's getting excited! Searching for evidence, tracking down the crime boss. It's like being a real detective!
Well done, you 2. Right on time. The day after we infiltrated the storage facility, the Dark Financier's 2 lackeys, Corday and Dodamani, started moving the goods. See that ship? It's the one Dodamani dispatched to transport the goods. It operates under the guise of a joint passenger and freight vessel.
Whoa! That's one huge boat! Paimon can see all the goods piled up on the pier. Seems like it's transporting quite a few passengers to Luminous Harbor as well.
Thinking 2 steps ahead? I like it. You're a fast learner. If Corday and Dodamani think the authorities are onto them, it's possible the goods they're sending to Lumiduce Harbor are a whole bunch of nothing. Just bait to flush out the law enforcement on their tail. But we need to be careful. Several members of the crew have confessed that a veteran treasure hoarder known as Scamface is involved with the Dark Financier. As an escaped convict, Scamface is a master of staying hidden. Based on our earlier investigation, it's clear he's the one who's been doing reconnaissance on the Millilith's lighthouse. I'll circle the area to draw Scamface's attention away from the scene, while you two inspect the goods. Remember to keep a low profile.
Yeah! And Paimon will do her best to float closer to the ground. No higher than the Traveler's shoulder.
All set? All right, we'll meet.
Okay, so no fakes. These people are definitely anxious to get their goods to Fontaine all in one go. But did you see the strange markings on some of them? Huh, wonder what they mean. Let's go ask Galen!
Good work. As for the auction, Officer Edler was able to gather some useful intel too. We're almost certain their target is the auction taking place at the Hotel de Boer in 2 days. The markings you managed to capture were applied with a special kind of paint, almost impossible to notice without some kind of specialized tech, like the forensic imaging device. I think we're looking at a treasure hoarder insignia. Each big shot in the organization has their own, almost like a personal signature. And considering what we know about the case, I'd wager this is Scamface's handiwork. Based on the port manifest, it looks like the marked goods include fertilizer from Sumeru, local fireworks, soap, and perfume.
So, nothing special then? Just some farming products and everyday necessities?
Fertilizer, soap, and perfume. No, there's something going on there. Might be risky, but I'm gonna investigate on board, and hitch a ride to Fontaine while I'm at it.
Yeah! Let's see this thing through! Paimon's gotta know what's going on here.
Well, you've proved yourself so far, so I don't see a problem with that. Just know once we board the ship, we're bound to come face to face with Corday and Dodamani. So make sure you're prepared. The investigation might look a little different this time.
Excuse me, passengers. Due to limited space in the cargo hold, we've been forced to store some of the goods on the deck. We apologize for the inconvenience.
Ah, please, no need to apologize for your success in business. I just hope it rubs off on the rest of us.
It looks like all the goods marked with Scamface's insignia have Corday listed as the shipper. Dodamani is in the cargo hold, likely making sure all the goods are in place for delivery.
Are they inspecting something? Why are they rifling through the boxes? Paimon can't make sense of it.
Here, take this cipher. It should help you figure out their coded messages. This is the plan. While I distract Corday and Dodamani, you two investigate the goods marked with Scamface's insignia. We might learn something useful. By all means, I trust your judgment.
Huh? Wait! You're just gonna go up and talk to those guys? Yelan!
Oh, excuse me, gentlemen, but have we met? You're Mr. Corday, a famous antique collector in the Quartier Lyonnais, correct? I believe the three of us have had the pleasure of meeting once before, at Jiuguan Tea House in Yilong Wharf, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh? You... Ah, the Dice Master of Yenshang Tea House. It's a pleasure, Miss Yelan.
Oh, so you've heard of me too?
Yes, I had an absolutely delectable cup of tea there once. One can hardly leave Yenshang Tea House without hearing about your legendary dice skills. I suppose something keeps bringing us together. A shared love of tea, perhaps?
Yes, that must be it. Well, looks like we ran into each other at the perfect time. I'm heading to Fontaine on vacation, you see. Any recommendations on where I should visit? Someplace I could find an exquisite tea set, perhaps. Like a fine art exhibition, or an auction. I hear Fontainian black tea has a unique flavor. I imagine your tea sets are a sight to behold as well.
You...
Ah, does this gentleman have an interest in tea sets as well?
Of course. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Yelan. I'm also heading to Fontaine for travel. Corday's invitation, you see. In fact, I'm the one who owns this ship.
Yep. Yelan is actually talking to them. Are we sure that's a good idea? Alright, then let's go somewhere out of their line of sight so we can start investigating those boxes. What's with the strong smell coming from these boxes? Must be a bunch of stuff mixed together. And there's a strange note. But Paimon can't read what it says. Yelan really thinks of everything, huh? But You know how to use this thing, right? Well, what does it say? Blowing up the ship? Are they nuts? Paimon thought this was about getting the authorities off their tails, not drawing even more attention. Okay, Yuan was right. This guy is a complete lunatic. There are innocent people on this ship. We need to find and disarm those bombs as soon as possible. That's all the bombs on the deck. What about the cargo hold? Do we have enough time?
Already taken care of. Good work, you two. You stayed calm and acted fast. That was the perfect response to a situation like this.
Yelan! Honestly, it's all thanks to you. It was your idea to board the ship, and we never would have been able to figure out that message without your cipher. Wait a sec. Where are Corday and Dodamani?
Recovering from the shock, I would imagine. Suddenly finding out that you're being targeted by a dangerous individual. That must have been quite the ordeal for you, gentlemen. Almost lost your cargo and your lives in one fell swoop.
Indeed. To think such evil exists in this world. I can scarcely imagine what I did to offend this fellow. Resorting to murder like this. It's quite unfathomable.
Well, no need to fear. I'll alert the Maison Gardiennage at once and ask them to send agents to Lumidus Harbor. The two of you are clearly in need of protection. Your cargo will also need to be handed over to the authorities for inspection, Mr. Corday, just to eliminate any remaining hazards. After which, the Maison Gardiennage will escort it all to its intended destination, of course. So, if I may, where are your goods heading, Mr. Corday?
To the Hotel de Boer for an auction in 2 days.
Ah, then rest assured, the Maison Gardiennage is full of diligent and responsible personnel. You can trust that your goods will arrive at the auction without a scratch.
Our sincerest thanks.
You scared the life out of Paimon, Yelan! Going right up to them like that? What if they caught on and decided to, try something desperate?
It's not a question of if, Paimon. I'm sure they caught on. But in the interest of their own survival, they had no choice but to play along. Now we can be sure the Dark Financier is getting desperate. The stint on the ship? That was him trying to cut his losses to save his own skin. He needs to get rid of anything that could be traced back to him. So, you blow up the ship. You send the goods meant for the auction straight to the bottom of the sea, and let Scamface take the heat. The last thing he wanted was for the goods to make it to the auction, but now we've ensured that they will, so he has no choice but to follow through. He could choose not to send one of his agents to the auction, and let his goods go to an unsuspecting buyer instead. But remember, their worth is inflated. It would only be a matter of time before the buyer realized the valuation was off and reported it to the authorities. As the seller, Corday would be staring down a potential conviction. At best, the Dark Financier has to find a new kind of moral laundering scheme. At worst, he loses one of his last reliable agents in Fontaine. Exactly. Our trail of evidence remains intact, and we let the buyer at the auction lead us closer to the Dark Financier.
Okay, that means, can we go over this again?
Don't worry. I'm sure the Traveler will explain it again in Paimon-friendly language. We're in the home stretch, and taking advantage of this auction is crucial. So come prepared to see this through. Officer Edler already has an informant stationed at the scene. This invitation letter will get you into the auction. I'll meet you at the Hotel de Boer in 2 days.
Tea parties are... Alright, time to meet back up with Yelan. Our destination? A very important auction at the Hotel de Boer. This is our chance to catch the culprit behind this whole scheme.
We cannot just rely on the ocean's self-cleaning ability.
Good evening, patrons. Allow me to escort you to the auction.
Oh, Paimon's getting a little nervous. But we gotta keep it together. This is our best chance to catch these guys. Wow! This place is packed. Is every rich person in Fontaine here or something? Oh, wait! The people we're after are hiding here too! It's time to get serious. Paimon knows just the thing! What? It's not like we're rich like the rest of these people. We need a little something to blend in. Besides, if we're here as honest, hard-working detectives, we might as well look the part. Too bad. Paimon doesn't have another, but she'll help you make one once this is all over. An even cooler pair.
Well, you two seem raring to go. Good to see you're not nervous. But remember, the key to blending into an event like this is remaining calm and collected. Slow your breathing, tone down the emotion. We don't want to stand out.
Yelan? It is you, right? It must be you.
Well, I am the current owner of the Yanshang Tea House after all, as well as an honored guest at this auction. So, I thought something with more of a Fontainian flair might be nice. A special outfit for a special occasion. Why? Does it look bad?
No, not at all.
All right. Well, let the vacation begin. We have an auction to crash. You two are expert investigators at this point. With us working together, I'd say our chances of success are stacked higher than the cake towers in the Hotel de Boer.
We sure make a great team. But now that we're at the auction, what's our actual game plan?
This time, your mission is simple. Take this dossier and pay attention to the items being auctioned. When the Dark Financier's antiques are up, all you need to do is bid. We want to drive up the price and create a bidding frenzy.
Wait, so we get to actually take part in the auction?
Thoughtless bidding usually leads to a warning, or even disqualification. But the special account you two will be using during the bidding has no credit limit. So you can drive up the price as high as you want. The more chaos we create, the better. The Dark Financier knows we're on his tail, so I highly doubt he sent one of his trusted agents here. The buyer is likely someone disposable, a scapegoat of sorts. After the incident with the ship, several buyers registered for the auction at the last minute. They're all wearing special pins, signifying them as tea aficionados. Our target should be among them. And I'm sure he's terrified, because if a different buyer develops an interest in one of their inflated goods and wins the bid, it's game over for both Corday and the Dark Financier. Not to mention the buyer has limited funds at his disposal. The Dark Financier likes to work in small sums at a time, so his scapegoat can't go too overboard with the bidding.
Okay, so complicated stuff aside, the point is, they have a plan, and our goal is to mess it up. If Paimon was in their shoes, that would make her pretty nervous too.
There's seating reserved for special guests on the second floor. I'll be up there during the bidding to keep an eye on things, and to see if anyone starts to squirm. One thing going wrong might not be enough to slip him up, but target him again and again, and trust me, he'll feel the heat. Once the auction is over, we'll find somewhere secluded to corner the buyer and have a nice little chat.
Yeah! We're on a winning streak, and we're not about to let up.
He's acting strange, and there's something off with his attire. No mistake, that's our guy. His tea aficionado pin is a special color. Most likely to make it easier for Corday to keep tabs on him and the situation as a whole. Which means the two don't know each other well at all. That's something we can use to our advantage.
Wow, I can't believe I won the bid for this antique painted vase. Should be a wonderful addition to my home decor.
Did you see those tea sets from Chenyu Vale? People were bidding on them left and right. My goodness, those final numbers. Far too high for my pocketbook.
This was not how it was meant to go. Where did those two come from?
Whatever your employer is offering you, the Maison Gardiennage will double it.
You! I don't know what you're talking about.
Is that so? Well, you might be interested to know that this hitman over here is also on a need-to-know basis. If the person wearing the blue pin loses their bid, find somewhere secluded and eliminate them. All he can do is follow orders, I suppose.
Eliminate?
You lucked out, kid. Getting cornered by the law just saved your life.
No, this can't be happening. The boss said that even if I got sent to the Fortress of Meropide, all I had to do was keep my mouth shut and he would find a way to get me out. And he even paid me $3 million in advance. On that alone, I could get my wife the best medicine, help her hang on for a few more years. But then, one auction goes wrong. Just one. And what? He's afraid I'm gonna talk? So now I'm just collateral damage?
You're risking your life to do this guy's dirty work and pad his pockets with even more cash. Compared to what he's making, what you get in return are nothing but the scraps.
I've got at least 70 people just like you locked up in the Maison Gardiennage. Need them to tell you where this ends?
No need. I'm guessing you're offering me a way out. What do you need me to do, officer?
All you need to do is arrange a meeting with your boss and have a little chat.
My boss, he's extremely careful about that kind of thing. I've only met him 3 times, to pick up the advance, to go over the plan, and to get the funds for the auction. The best I can do is take you to the place I'm supposed to deliver the goods. There's a certain method I can use to get in contact with him in case of emergencies.
All right then. But first, we need to search your home for evidence related to the case.
Phew! Mission accomplished. You managed to get through to him so fast, Yelan. Paimon almost couldn't believe it.
Well, he was already nervous and uncertain. All it took was a sincere negotiation. Once I laid his interests out on the table, it didn't take much for him to realize he stands to gain more with us than his boss. Plus, we had some very convincing performances to help seal the deal. Especially you, officer. You make an excellent hitman.
Well, it's been a while since I've gotten to tap into a villain like that. Thought I could've pushed it a little more, honestly.
Are you kidding? Paimon felt like she was face to face with one of our bad guys of the week.
Well, what's next, Yelan? Want me to go after Corday or Dodamani?
The Sumeru authorities have Dodamani covered. They're just waiting on our signal, and they'll nab him once he makes it back to Beta Harbor. The Millilith are pursuing Scamface, so that just leaves Corday. Tail him, but be sure to keep your distance. We don't want him to tip anyone off.
You got it. I love it when a plan comes together like this.
All right then. We'll reconvene 12 hours from now, when our new double agent will lead us into the Lion's Den. It's time for the Dark Financier to face the music.
Boring.
All right, this is where the boss told me to bring the goods. This area is full of apartments and warehouses for rent. The Maison Gardiennage came through not too long ago to keep trouble off the streets. I guess boss thinks it's safer to operate right under their noses. Now, to arrange an emergency meeting, we need to activate a series of mechanisms to send him a signal. But to tell you the truth, I have no idea how to activate them. The only hint boss gave was that the code had something to do with colors. Maybe he was planning to give me more information after the auction, but that plan fell through, obviously.
Paimon was hoping it would be smooth sailing at this point. But no, of course. There's yet another obstacle. Well, after all the investigating it took us to get this far, figuring out what to do with these mechanisms should be a piece of cake.
If all goes to plan, this should be the last phase of the investigation. It's a shame, I know, but all good things must come to an end. All right, then let's see those detective skills in action. All right, the mechanisms have been activated. Now, all we have to do is wait for our target to take the bait.
You know what? For some strange reason, Paimon's not nervous at all.
My dear Monsieur Diderot, here to make excuses for your complete failure at the auction? Or to fish for a bigger cut? Accidents happen, of course. What I care about is whether you have the spine to deal with the consequences.
So you do believe in consequences? Seems a bit ironic, coming from the likes of you.
Oh? A trap, I presume. I've set a fair share of those myself. I suppose it's about time I stumbled into one set by someone else. No matter. Sometimes you take a chance on someone who turns out to be a disappointment. It's happened before. It's not easy to earn the dark financier Rovere Pelliccia's respect, but I must say, you three detectives are a force to be reckoned with. I suppose congratulations are in order. 6 months of planning and execution was all it took to take down a Mora laundering organization decades in the making. I have to hand it to the Fontaine and Liyue authorities. Your operation really has been a roaring success.
Why is the Dark Financier so polite? Not the kind of crime boss Paimon was expecting.
Oh, do be serious. You thought you'd corner me, and then what? I just surrender?
If you want to do this the easy way, then yes. You know you're out of options.
For 2 months, I've watched you and Officer Edler dismantle my organization piece by piece. As you cut off my limbs, gouged out my eyes, deafened my ears. I was helpless to stop it.
So you're planning on taking us down with you, is that it? Never heard that one before.
My livelihood is in tatters, Agent Yelan. Hundreds I had working under me, hundreds. And now, they're either locked up or useless. Corday is the only one who still has some value. My Mora laundering days are over. We both know that. And considering how your operation's been progressing, it was only a matter of time before you locked on to me. I'm usually one to quit while I'm ahead, but you see, there's only so much a man can lose before he starts to get rather angry. So, Agent Yelan, even if the only score I get to settle here today is ending your precious life, well, that's a high I'll ride straight to the bank.
Ah! Clockwork Mecha! Paimon takes back what she said! This isn't very polite at all!
An old military model. Bet these go for big bucks on the black market. You two have been a huge help, but this fight is mine. 'Cause as it so happens, he isn't the only one who has a score to settle here. If he wants to bring on the drama, then I'm more than happy to give him a show. Busted. Game's up. Fun's over. Take it easy. quietly now. Things are about to get dicey.
Unbelievable. You've bested me. Fair and square.
Any last words? Perhaps a bit too dramatic, isn't it? I'd rather not give a soapbox to a piece of scum like you. No, I think I'll say my piece instead. You can pretend to have seen the error of your ways, but it doesn't matter, because you're going to rot in prison for the rest of your life. And every moment of every day you'll be cursing the greed that put you there. Every coin of dirty money that you've pocketed over the years is just another nail in your coffin. And all you'll be able to do is curl up in the corner of your cell like a dying animal and waste away whatever remains of your pathetic life.
You're not a detective, no. You're some kind of demon.
If you knew what's good for you, you'd have walked away from this fight. But it's too late for that now. After 6 months of hard work, I finally get to tick off the mission accomplished box at the end of the case file. Take this guy back to the Court of Fontaine to stand trial. Don't let him try anything. With any luck, we'll get to send him off to prison before the day is out. Oh, Miss Yelan, Traveler, Paimon. As a personal thanks for all your help, you deserve half of the bonus I'm getting for this case. I will also request that the Maison Gardiennage extend our utmost thanks to our partners in Liyue.
I appreciate the sentiment, Officer Edler, but that's too kind. I was just doing my job. I can't, in good conscience, accept even a single Mora. I'll have to pass up any invitations for banquets or tea tastings as well. If you want to reward someone for going above and beyond during this operation, it should be the Traveler and Paimon.
Wow. Paimon's had her detective cap on for so long, analyzing all those clues and trying to uncover their schemes, that her brain hurts. But at the same time, she feels smarter than before. Maybe Paimon really does have what it takes to be a real detective.
Well, if you're interested in this line of work, we're heading to the Maison Gardiennage to get a confession out of these guys. Did you want to tag along?
You really mean it? Yes! 100% yes! Oh, is that okay, Traveler? Paimon's gonna go with Officer Edler and learn some cool new detective skills! Who knows? Maybe they'll come in handy someday! Alright! Then let's rendezvous outside the Palais Memmonia!
Well, both our lives can get back to normal now, Traveler. After talking about it for so long, I finally have the chance to enjoy a real vacation. Mind humoring me for a bit, Traveler?
Solid celestial body to be locked from the entire game, making almost twice as much altitude to performing compared to Kerbin. And unlike Kerbin, you also need to launch.
What a nice night. Fresh from maritime flowers, fragrant perfume from the shop on the corner, the rich aroma of coffee beans, all blended together in the night breeze. Makes for quite the relaxing atmosphere. If only we were on a rooftop terrace somewhere, enjoying a few glasses of sparkling wine and getting pleasantly tipsy. All right, then let's look for a place to stop. I wonder what special drinks the hidden taverns of this city offer. Oh, but first, I wanted to head to the Confrérie of Cabriere before it closes. Mind helping me pick out some perfume to go with this outfit? I also heard about the intricate timepieces, clockwork furnishings, and fine jewelry you can get around here. There should be quite a few souvenirs worth perusing. Well, with the most cultured traveler in all of Teyvat by my side, I should take advantage of this opportunity. I'm counting on you not to steer me wrong.
While the first stage is going to need considerably more power, I wanted this lander to be a do-it-all beam lander, which means it should be able to reach the orbit when starting at sea level, a scenario that we're probably not going to reach. Here, if you're a channel member or a Kip transporter, then you'll be able to download this map file yourself. And so I wanted this to be able to return from anywhere on the except for the sea itself. We haven't actually tested water landing, but
I'm satisfied. This has been a nice trip abroad. A very nice trip indeed. I wish I could take my time, maybe extend my stay a few more days. No one likes to be rushed on vacation. It can't be helped. Duty calls. I still have to write up a formal report on the case and develop a more sophisticated cargo inspection system. Then I'm off to the location of my next assignment, Nodcry.
Special Kerbal Space Program video today. I had an idea for a new KSP series, and that is speedrunning the space race, I guess.
No, nothing like that. Just meeting an intelligence partner to decide on a mutually beneficial agreement going forward, and to set some boundaries. I'll fill you in later. For now, why don't we take a picture together to commemorate this exciting trip to Fontaine? That's right. After this, I know I can trust you to have my back, Traveler. Or should I say, Agent. I say we put the forensic imaging device to use one last time to take this picture. Perhaps we'll cross paths in Nodcry. If so, I hope this collaboration was just the first of many.
Them doing sub-orbital flights, then finally there was orbital flight, and it took a while to get there. So I thought, you know what if I did a series, in the next few weeks, in which we talk about the key programs throughout the space race, so Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, Voskhod, Vostok, Soyuz, kind of covering both sides of the Atlantic there, and sort of, but for just each episode, we just do everything from one program in one video. So my initial thought was maybe we just do every single Mercury mission, like objective to Mercury, in a single flight. I quickly realized that's probably not a great idea because there was two Mercury rockets really. There was the Mercury Redstone and the Mercury Atlas. Mercury Redstone tends to be the one to think of the Mercury rocket. I feel like it's the more iconic Mercury rocket. That's just my perception of it. But Mercury Redstone never went to orbit. Only a sub-orbital rocket. Mercury Atlas actually went to orbit. Both rockets really separate Mercury. And then I thought, well, the first Mercury flight really was the Mercury Little Joe. That was fun. I didn't want to go. That was cheap. One of them. And it kind of sent us to the launch case. So that's what we're going to do. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the Mercury. Did I kind of hit all the points I needed to hit in that intro? I think I did. Anyway, as you can see, I have been constructing a Mercury capsule on screen. The problem with Mercury is it's kind of a build program. It's very hard to get the actual shape of the rocket exactly right. I mean, Kerbal Space Program does have a
Add Astra at...
first capsule.
Thank you for...
Here, but the Mercury launch escape
Add
system is
Astra...
very hard to get right in Kerbal Space Program, and it's very hard to get the little retro rocket configuration under the children's okay as well. I feel like what I've got here is a good approximation of what the Mercury capsule looked like, but you know, it's not perfect. Now, this could be solved with mod, especially something like Blue Dog Crime Bureau, but I'm trying to keep this series stock. So if you're not opposed to using mods, then I do wholeheartedly recommend checking them out, because you'll have a much easier time. But I'm working with what I've got here, and what I've got...
Being too This realm is... If you ever...
Get to work!
Time to shine!
Frosted! Yeah!
Let the world come alive!
Show no mercy!
Time to shine!
King and Queen should present a united front.
Strike a pose!
A little
Rock to the core! Let my name echo in some... Shower me with praise! A little moose.
Hang in there!
It is time to slay our foes with one almighty
This calls for some
strike!
pomp and ceremony. Good lord, always forgetting your lines.
Where were we?
A little moose. like it. Strike a pose.
The stars fade to
One blast is quite enough. And now, a towering return to form!
The pinnacle of excellence! Time to shine! A little amuse bouche!
The tidal
Hey, no dying! The show begins! Get to work! Take me, stars above. Show no mercy. How brilliant! Get to work! I've read almost every novel from Yai Publishing House. Pretty normal, right? Shower me with praise! Let my name echo in song! Strike a pose! Let the world collide! Stop that! The show begins! Time to shine!
We should present a united front.
The tide's beckon.
Let my name echo in song! Ha! Let
Bow your head.
May I present?
It is time to slay our foes with one almighty strike!
Some pomp and ceremony. Good lord. Getting your rhymes.
Where were we?
Am I still weak?
Our performance has yet to conclude.
I dance for you, my dear. My power is immense.
Just don't get stuck in the barrel.
Let my name echo in song!
And now, a towering return to form!
Lolling!
Oh no!
Be sanctified.
Sorry, my dear.
Time to shine! Fulfill our path!
The curtain call has arrived.
You two!
Right. Looks like that's everything. Yeah, 4 hours, software complete, equipment tutorial needed, event details, everything here claimed. 4 hours. Sound days, 4 hours, 15 days. 15 days, sound days, 15 days. Yeah, looks like this one has everything. By the way, I probably skipped today. Most likely, meaning that I lost on one. Oh. Unfortunately. But hey, next time I'm gonna pull, I will have at least 80. It seems. Larissa, don't me so much. Just to be sure. Once again, launching Zenless.
But they did confirm that this is a Bloomberg address. They also confirmed that they manually reviewed the strike. They, in fact, manually reviewed the strike while I was on the phone. Someone has looked at this. And since they won't let us ask them questions via the phone, I guess we'll just do it here. Look, we can all like camera, but you never know. Try. In fact, the research will find out the article inside. Yell that. Let's not pretend that getting kicked out. God. But again, we wanted to try and get some from the star people down here.
Alright. That's going to be it for the stream. Good luck, fun, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.